Hi guys, it's Nika. Welcome back to the seventh deadly night of CAS. Today's prompt is Broken Angel, and this one was harder for me than I thought it would be. But it was only hard for one reason. When I first came up with this challenge, I got a great idea for this prompt, but I didn't write it down. And what happened? Well, I simply forgot what I came up with, and I had to do something new. So, yeah. But I really like the sim that I created, and I think her story is kind of creepy. Well, really creepy. But when you're creating like vampires and ghosts and human sims that those creatures want to hurt, what story won't be creepy here? Anyway, so this is Hellen Grace Padmore. Her traits right now are loner, gloomy, genius, stone-hearted, Pisces, and when I was writing her story, I decided that I would change genius to jealous. I have not done it yet. When I was creating her, I had a different story in mind than the one that I eventually, just a few minutes ago, wrote down. So, what's her story, you ask? Well, let's get into it. Many decades ago, Helen was thought to be the loveliest woman in all of Forgotten Hollow region. She was kind, beautiful, and full of love for all people. But it all changed when her lover left her for another. That kind of rhymes. She couldn't believe he would betray her like that, and suspected that a woman must have enchanted and cursed him somehow to lure him away. Why else would he leave such a lovely soul like Helen, right? He wouldn't find a better wife to be anywhere. To get him back and break the suspected spell, Helen would do anything, even use the woman's own medicine. She lost herself in studying the dark magic, but unfortunately for Helen, the man was just far too loyal to his new wife, and the spells had little to no effect on him. Not to mention Helen was wrong, he had not been enchanted before, and there really just might have been a better lover for him. And perhaps Helen was not as lovely as everyone thought. Eventually, Helen came to the conclusion that if she cannot have him, no one else can. But in attempts to murder him, she lost her own life. Ever since, she's been haunting the old manor grounds, weeping and screaming. Locals learned to stay away. Her only neighbor was the old lord up there in the castle, that's just as Helen, but in a physical body still. It was him who suggested his friend Amadeus buys Helen's mansion, and Amadeus was probably the only one who could handle living with her ghost here. The Lord came over for a visit with his servant recently, and Helen couldn't believe her eyes. Sure enough, the servant named Henry looked just like the love of her life, who had left her. The fact that he was reborn and brought back to her must mean only one thing. They are meant to be together, and they finally will be, right? So that would be the story for today. I want to say I'm sorry if I didn't sound as enthusiastic as I did in the previous parts of this challenge. I don't know what it is. I just woke up today and I feel so tired. I got enough sleep, but I feel so tired anyway. I think I had a bad dream. I don't remember what it was, but I think it was really bad, so maybe that's why I don't really feel great. But yeah, Helen, what a sim, am I right? I'm trying to think if there was any inspiration that I really thought of and I was like, okay, I'm gonna get inspired from this. I don't think so. Now that I think about it, this whole thing with she sort of lost her lover and now he's back decades or centuries later and she's sure that it's him and he was reborn and they can be together. That kind of reminds me of what they did in the Dracula movie, in the one from 1992, I think it was made. Yeah, how there was that. Honestly, I didn't really like it that much, but there was this thing with Dracula and Mina. Yeah, that's just something that came to me right now, but it's not like I thought about that when I was creating the sim. Speaking of the Dracula movie, I recently watched it for the first time, and I've heard many good things about the movie, but to be perfectly honest with you, I did not really like it too much. I liked the aesthetic and the costumes, and I think the movie looked great, but I didn't really like the story. I'm sorry. I've read the book like 2 or 3 times at this point, and there were some. I mean, in a way, I think a lot of things there were quite accurate, but then there were the things that weren't in the book that I just didn't like. And I think both girls, both Mina and Lucy, were done dirty, and this is not at all how I imagined them when I was reading the book. So yeah, maybe one of these days I will rant about this particular Dracula movie, and yeah. You know what would fix me? An accurate Dracula adaptation. I haven't seen many yet, but I know, and a lot of people were joking about that, and I think they still are. But when last year everyone on Tumblr joined Dracula Daily, I remember a lot of people were joking about the fact that everyone thinks they know the Dracula story, but the book is actually very different from what everyone expects, because the movies are just never accurate. So yeah, I really want an accurate Dracula movie. I think the book is fun. I think they should do an accurate adaptation one day, but we kind of went off topic, haven't we? I didn't want to rant about Dracula today, but I suppose since I made Hellen a vampire in the game, we can talk about vampires, like, it's fine. Oh, by the way, you guys know that I'm obsessed with Interview with the Vampire. I'm obsessed with the books. I need to read more of them in the series. I'm obsessed with the TV show, and oh my god, last week they shared the first scene from the new season, and when I tell you, my whole night was made when I saw that scene, and when I tell you, I was not normal about that, and now thinking about it again, I'm once again not normal about that. I freaking love that show so much. Oh, and the pictures they then shared on like Instagram, or I don't know where I saw them. You guys, I don't know when exactly we are getting this season. It should be 2024. I don't know when exactly in 2024. But when we get it, I'm going to be so insufferable. I'm gonna tell you right now, I am sorry for what's going to happen with me. I'm just not normal about this show, and season 2 is looking great so far. And I think it's time to end this video before I go absolutely crazy. So I hope you enjoyed this one. I hope you enjoyed Helen's story. And yeah, I will see you all next time. Love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Bye everyone.